What if you were given 1 minute? 1 minute to live that day knowing what was about to happen. What if you could see the last peaceful seconds, the last smiles, the morning of September 11th, 2001? You're looking at the Twin Towers, and you know that they're not just towers, they are symbols. And today, they will fall, and the world will never be the same. This is the story of how one day changed everything. September 11th, 2001, a Tuesday. An ordinary morning that in an instant ceased to be. Millions of people around the world woke up unaware that their lives, their worldview, their sense of security, all of it was about to change forever. This day, which seemed like thousands of others, became the day humanity saw its vulnerability. At 8:46 a.m. Eastern Time, American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. The first impact. At the time, the world didn't yet understand what was happening. Some spoke of a tragic pilot error, an accident. 17 minutes later at 9:03, a second plane, United Airlines Flight 175, crashed into the South Tower. This time there was no doubt. This was no accident. It was a deliberate attack, a terrorist act. At 9:37 a.m., the Pentagon, a symbol of U.S. military power, was hit. American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the building. The disaster took on an even greater national scale. At 9:59 a.m., the WTC South Tower began to collapse. The 110-story building folded like a house of cards. A huge cloud of dust and debris covered Manhattan. Thousands of people ran, escaping from this apocalyptic cloud. And the last, but no less important, tragedy of the day. United Airlines Flight 93. Thanks to the courage of the passengers who learned about the attacks and decided to fight back against the hijackers, this plane did not reach its target, crashing into a field in Pennsylvania. At the cost of their lives, they saved thousands of others. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower collapsed. The world froze. It stopped. This Tuesday became the day when everything changed.
The whole top came off. And then the smoke, all of a sudden I see the smoke fall.
Where are we even going?
We gotta get you to the medical station so you can get it.
The official version of the September 11th events is well known, but from the very first day, it raised questions. Hundreds of questions. In society and beyond, so-called conspiracy theories are being actively discussed. Are they telling us the whole truth? One of the most well-known proponents of this viewpoint is Richard Gage, an architect and founder of the organization Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. He and his colleagues have gathered thousands of signatures from specialists who claim that the World Trade Center buildings could not have collapsed as they did from fire alone. Another well-known critic of the official version is David Ray Griffin, a theologian and philosopher and the author of numerous books on the topic. He meticulously analyzes all the inconsistencies, from the collapse of WTC-7, which was not hit by a plane, to the speed of the tower's collapse. In his opinion, all these facts point to a controlled demolition of the buildings. Proponents of alternative versions point to strange, unnatural sounds, similar to explosions that were heard during the collapse of the towers. These people claim that only the use of explosives could have led to such a rapid and symmetrical collapse. Additionally, they raise questions about the operation of U.S. air defense on that day. None of these theories have received official confirmation, but they have become an integral part of the public's understanding of the events of that day. The world's reaction to September 11th was swift. The day after the attacks, all 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, including Russia, condemned these attacks. Newspaper headlines around the world expressed shock and condolences. The world, it seemed, had united in a single impulse against a common enemy for the first time in a long time. But this unity was temporary.
I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knocked these buildings down will hear all of us soon.
The administration of George W. Bush declared a war on terror, which fundamentally changed U.S. foreign policy. Just a month later, on October 7, 2001, American forces began a military operation in Afghanistan. The goal was to overthrow the Taliban regime, which had provided refuge to al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden. Soon after, in 2003, the invasion of Iraq followed. Although a direct link between Saddam Hussein's regime and the September 11th attacks was never proven, the American government justified its decision with Iraq's alleged possession of weapons of mass destruction and its support for terrorism. These wars, launched in response to 9/11, led to years of conflict, the loss of hundreds of thousands of lives, and the destabilization of entire regions. On the domestic front, September 11th led to the creation of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the passage of the Patriot Act. This law gave intelligence agencies unprecedented powers for surveillance and data collection, which sparked heated debate about the violation of civil liberties. Security became the top priority, and the price for it was high, a partial loss of privacy. Many years have passed since that day. On the site of the ruins, a memorial now stands. It's not just a monument, it's 2 massive fountains that descend into the ground, symbolizing emptiness and pain. Their sound is a constant reminder of those who perished. Around them are names, thousands of names. This is our shared memory that we carry with us. But the legacy of September 11th is not limited to memorials. That day changed our world on a deep, systemic level. Think about how airports changed. Today, we perceive security screenings and measures as something self-evident. But before 2001, everything was different. This is just one example of how 9/11 shaped our daily lives. This day became the catalyst for the global war on terror. It led to military operations in Afghanistan and Iraq. It changed international politics, creating new alliances and giving rise to new conflicts. We are still reaping the fruits of those decisions. And finally, the most important thing, the legacy of September 11th is a lesson for each of us. It is a reminder of the fragility of the world we take for granted. It is a story of how a horrifying tragedy can unite people in a single impulse of compassion and courage. Thousands of firefighters, police officers, and ordinary people who rushed to help show that even in the darkest hour, the human spirit is capable of incredible acts. We can argue about the causes, we can doubt the official versions, but we cannot forget those who died, and we cannot forget those who proved to be heroes. This day left a deep wound, but it also taught us that even from the ruins, something new and strong can be built, and that we must never forget. Never.